With reports of contract negotiations in AEW and more, this is Wrestling Up. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. On Busted Open Radio, Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace was asked about feeling disrespected in pro wrestling, as she said, "I don't think disrespected is the right word. I think overlooked might be more accurate. Honestly, I truly think that's just because tribalism in wrestling is so adamant across the board. If people watch WWE, they're very big on the WWE wrestlers. If they watch AEW, they're big on AEW wrestlers. I just think if people do go out of their way to watch Impact, it's very rare. So I don't think that they're gonna see me one time and be 100% behind me. So I can understand that. But at the same time, it does suck to work as hard as you have worked and not be acknowledged completely." Recalling his time as the general manager of Raw alongside Stephanie McMahon, Mick Foley revealed the two of them stood up to Vince McMahon over a promo segment. "When I finally started to get on track with the GM role, it's where I realized, okay, I'm in a different atmosphere. I have to play by the rules. I don't get to write the rules anymore. But instead of me trying to memorize someone else's verbiage, which is really difficult for me with the head injuries, I would write out promos. Even if they only took a few lines, it felt like they were mine." Going back to, this is fall of 2016, I think. "So I've just taken over this role of general manager for Raw with Stephanie as the commissioner and my boss. No one has mentioned anything about the fact that Triple H interfered with the match, costing, can't remember what title. I thought we have to have some kind of friction here or else I'm just in a corner in my second week on the job. It's me against her." During an interview with Fightful, New Japan star Will Ospreay talked about Triple H letting WWE stars wrestle for NJPW as well as Pro Wrestling Noah's. He said, "I'm shocked at it, but in the same sense, now that Triple H is running the ship, it's got to be said. I think Triple H is a G. I think he's such a gangster. I've always liked him. He's a cool dude. He clearly watches what goes on outside of his bubble, which is amazing. The fact that he's allowed Carl to have this dual deal is cool. It makes me wonder what doors could be open. I always want to know who is the best out of their crop. I always like testing myself, and it would be very interesting if there was a way of making that door open. You never know." Asked about his inspiration as a wrestler, AEW Tag Team Champion Max Caster told the AJ Awesome Show, "John Cena is a huge inspiration. Never met him, but he reaches out to me from time to time. He's been very, very nice, and for my hero as a teenager to reach out to me and, in the midst of people saying, 'Oh, you're a Cena ripoff, you're just doing something that's old. We don't want to see this in wrestling now.' For him to reach out and say you're doing it the right way, sometimes he says I do it better than he did. It's his opinion. I don't know if I want to agree with that, but I believe in myself 100%. And his confidence in me only boosts me up. I don't know if he knows how much that means, but it means a lot. So he's my inspiration back then and now still." EVP for WWE, Dan Vittrell, mentioned how WWE would be heading to London over the summer, saying the O2 is one of the world's premier venues and the perfect home for Money in the Bank. "We are excited to bring one of our Big 5 events to the UK and look forward to welcoming the WWE Universe to London on July 1st. The senior programming director at the O2 would add, "We are honored to be hosting the first ever Money in the Bank event taking place in the UK here at the O2. We're looking forward to welcoming back WWE fans to the O2 this summer for an unforgettable night with some of WWE's biggest superstars." Speaking about his accomplishments in WWE, Kurt Angle mentioned one accolade he never had in the company. "You know what? One thing that got away from me, I would have loved to win the Royal Rumble and go to WrestleMania and main event as most likely the babyface, because that's who usually wins the Royal Rumble. That would have been a lot of fun for me." With Charlotte Flair making a return to WWE on SmackDown and winning the women's title, Bully Ray made a suggestion for her on Busted Open Radio. How much does it suck to be Charlotte Flair right now, knowing that this is as good as you're ever gonna be? Because she doesn't have anybody to get in the ring that's better than her. The only way Charlotte Flair will ever be any better than she is right now is if they let her wrestle men. If she's in there with Seth, she's gonna learn something. If she's in there with Randy, she's gonna learn something. During her discussion on WWE's The Bump, Charlotte Flair touched on becoming champion once again, saying, "So before I went away for 8 months, I always said that I don't really think about the number, and I never really cared about surpassing the number. But here I am now as a 14-time women's champion, and I'm like, yeah, I want to pass it. I don't know when, I don't know how. I mean, I know how, I'm going to do it, but I think I definitely want to surpass the number now." When it comes to a star on the rise in AEW, Dave Meltzer revealed on Wrestling Observer Radio, Takeshita big push on the horizon someday soon. Probably not this week because Bryan Danielson has to win every match until February 8th. Recalling a time during Batista's days in Ohio Valley Wrestling, pro wrestling manager Kenny Bolin said on the Hannibal TV that the Animal was beat up in a locker room fight. I didn't get to see it personally. Slick Robbie D he can handle himself pretty good. He was probably the greatest athlete in the history of OVW. The other one who could have competed with him was Shelton Benjamin. When asked, did Slick Robbie D put the beat down on Batista, he responded, "Everyone I heard that saw it said Batista never had a chance." In some unfortunate news, the mother of Dustin Rhodes passed away as he took to Twitter to write, "I'm very sad to say that I lost my mama. She was an incredibly strong mother who was loving and resilient to her dying day. She taught me everything, and I am the man I am today because of her. I am so saddened but so happy she is no longer in pain. Rest in heaven." Of course, we wish Dustin and his family all the best during this time. On the One-on-One podcast, Teddy Long spoke about the run Ronda Rousey has had thus far in WWE, where he would criticize her, saying, "I'm glad that you mentioned this because that is definitely how I feel. I don't think she cares anything about her business. I don't think she takes professional wrestling seriously. I think with her, it's all about Ronda Rousey. She's one of the people who will go into the business for themselves. So like I said, great person, but this business is different. You gotta take it real seriously." Executive Vice Presidents of AEW, the Young Bucks, are apparently in talks to sign new deals. With Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reporting, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks have been in discussions with All Elite Wrestling about new contracts. We don't have details, terms, or know if they've been signed, but them being in discussions has made its way through the locker room. The nature and length of All Elite Wrestling contracts has been the subject of much confusion based on initial reporting, when they started, and what these subjects themselves have said. Wrestling Observer had originally reported in January 2019 that Cody and the Young Bucks had all signed 5-year deals, but Cody left after 3 in early 2022. It would be added by Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio that their contract is up at the end of the year, and AEW does want to lock them in. AEW contacted them and wants to start the negotiations, but there have been no negotiations as of today, and they're certainly not close to a deal. Right now, that's where it's at. It's similar to when we talked about a couple of months ago with Jericho. Jericho had time left, but they signed him to a new deal. They have not started negotiations yet, but AEW has contacted them saying that they want to sign them to a new deal, a multi-year deal, so that's where the Young Bucks story is at right now. Touching on the debut of Mercedes Money in New Japan for Wrestle Kingdom, Tommy Dreamer said this about what's next for her on Busted Open Radio. "She changed the trajectory of her career, her life. She gets to do whatever the hell she wants to do. If she wants to wrestle, she doesn't want to wrestle. It's very, very cool that she's doing this. If you look at people who have gone this route, Chris Jericho, Brock Lesnar, and they all made themselves bigger stars by going somewhere else and are still in the industry pretty much doing what they want to do when they want to do it, as draws. She is still so young. So it's whether whether she does this for the next 5 years. She can literally go back to WWE if she wanted to and be like, hey, I want to do this and this and this. And if not, cool, I'll just keep on doing what I want to do, right? When it comes to a return to Sasha Banks from Mercedes, it was said on Wrestling Observer Radio that I also know from WWE that they are very strongly under the impression that she will not wrestle for AEW. They think that she's coming back at some point, and she'll get this out of her system, and she'll do her New Japan matches, because she's only contracted for a couple of matches. And if she's going to AEW, she has to sign for 3 years minimum, because why bother if she's going back? For AEW, it would be really stupid to put her on television if she's going back in 6 months. I don't know that she wants to make that commitment that she can't go back. With it announced on AEW Dynamite last night that Toni Storm will be Soraya's tag team partner next week, it seems Mercedes Money will not be making her way to AEW at this time, as it was said by Dave Meltzer that she is not in Los Angeles. She is not coming to AEW. I don't think she wants to make that commitment, because if she goes to AEW, it's a long commitment. I've heard denials from AEW people in the match. They knew that it was really screwed. That's why they had to announce somebody this week, because they knew it was really screwed, because everybody was thinking that it was her, and it wasn't her. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.